Welcome back to Third Win Thursdays. My name's Scott Hibbard. I'm joined by John and Eric, and today we have a very special guest with us. And he is a mental health advocate, change maker, and founder of Alston for Athletes. His name's Marcus Alston, and he's also part of the NAMI Maryland Board of Directors and recently helped pass a law that funds a required course to educate and prepare all high school sport coaches around crisis intervention and beneficial coaching strategies. Thank you for joining us, Marcus.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really looking forward to the convo.
Great. And I'll toss it over to John to get us started.
So you forgot the important title of TWG client there, Scott, as well, member of the family here. So Marcus, thanks for joining us, Marcus. So why don't you just start off and tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and tell us about Alston for Athletes.
Yeah, great question. So I've been a mental health advocate for about 4 years now. Originally attended St. Francis University in Loretto, Pennsylvania. And, I had some injuries back in high school that lingered into college that directly impacted my mental health. So I realized how much mental health wasn't really talked about in athletics. So I really wanted to advocate for mental health in athletics. So I started, ideating for Alston for Athletes in about 2019. Just really writing out my goals, trying to define who does Marcus Alston look like, after or outside of sports. One thing that stood out to me was just helping, the next generation of athletes. So I had like a soft launch with Alston for Athletes in the fall of 2019. We've been fully operational now for about 2 years. Essentially, what Alston for Athletes' 3 core pillars is the first being awareness. So not only spreading mental health awareness to student athletes, but also coaches, parents, and this could be through things like speaking engagements, in addition to sharing resources or sharing mental health statistics. And the second pillar is access. So we have a mental health scholarship program that connects collegiate athletes to a clinical sports psychologist because oftentimes there isn't a mental health professional embedded within athletics. It's kind of more general counseling support for the student population. So, and on that note, there's also long wait times. One provider might be responsible for 500, 600, 700 athletes. There might be an African-American student athlete and then the provider at the school or the counselor at the school is Caucasian. So maybe that African-American athlete wants to work with an African-American provider. So that's where, we come in essentially, is to help athletes that may have not found the right provider, may not have the financial means to pay for these services, or have, like I said, had those long wait lists. So we'll come in and connect the athlete to a clinical sports psychologist. So they'll receive upwards to $1,500 towards mental health sessions throughout the school year. And then the last piece is advocacy. So, we realize that there's a lot of great organizations like NAMI, Mental Health America, advocating for, more general mental health legislation, but you don't really see too many advocating for athlete-specific mental health. So I really saw that as a niche for our organization. So right now, we're working on a bill here in Maryland that would require mental health training for coaches. And like I mentioned, been an advocate for about 4 years. Been fortunate enough to do some work with NAMI Maryland, Mental Health America, the White House, MTV, and I'm actually currently working on a new initiative with HHS as well. So really dedicated to this cause, just really given my lived experience dealing with mental health, as well as just all the injuries, concussions, and things that I endured.
Man, it's great work, Marcus, and the amount of passion and the amount of energy that you put into this is really impressive and admirable. So tell me a bit about, what your vision is, and what does athletics look like 5 years from now, because of the work that you and your team are doing at your organization.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. So I really want to expand this advocacy more on a national scale. So we're hoping to get it passed in a couple more states, kind of go on a state by state basis over the next couple of years, and then really take that on a national scale. Um, Another thing that I would really like to see is um, mental health screening in athletics. So, we have other legislation that we want to propose, but how athletes go through their physicals, but they go through no like mental, physical, or evaluation before their season starts. So it's like, why can't we spend an extra 5 or 10 minutes to put the athlete through the screening essentially? Um, I think we just really need to come up with other solutions to help equip peers, or just kind of look at the existing infrastructure and how we can make it better, because unfortunately to become a therapist, that's going to take you, might take you 7 years, 6 years of schooling to be able to get out and see clients. So unfortunately it's not like we can have enough demand of professionals to meet that supply essentially. So I think we need to like start looking at, okay, how can we get the coaches mental health training? How can we maybe get the athletic trainers mental health training? How can we, another thing that I'm really passionate about as well, is trying to get mental health professionals embedded within athletics, because not all colleges, especially smaller institutions, have mental health professionals embedded within athletics. And I know that if they're not embedded within athletics at the collegiate level, it's probably unlikely that they're embedded within the high school level as well. So I think that would be pretty cool to see some things like that.
Absolutely. So, Marcus, you've been embedded in this space, for several years now. You've have lived experience around mental health and well-being, and dealing with that. Let's get a little bit actionable, and let's say you're speaking to a young athlete right now. What are one or two tools that you would say these are tools that maybe not work for everybody, but could work for you in terms of developing and nurturing your mental health and well-being as an athlete?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, one thing that I learned, after playing sport is just mindfulness. We tend to get in our thoughts, or like, oh, we got this meeting coming up, we got this coming up this weekend, this party, or whatever, it may be. And sometimes it's tough for us to kind of live in the present and just be like mindful. So mindfulness is definitely something that I've been, trying to practice more, over the years. And then another thing that's been helpful for me is box breathing. So a lot of people don't understand that, when you take, like breaths, essentially, you're not getting the full oxygen supply to your brain. But when you take, deep breaths, you're getting, you know, um, all the oxygen to your brain. Um, and with box breathing, believe it's a tactic they use, or Navy SEALs use, but um, you breathe in for 4 seconds, and it's called box breathing for a reason. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds, and then you repeat that cycle. So that's why it's called box breathing. So that's been very helpful for me, where it's kind of part of that mindfulness piece where it's like, all right, maybe I'm in my head a little bit or whatever. All right, let's do some, a grounding exercise like box breathing to kind of recenter your focus.
No, I appreciate that, and hope our listeners will take that up and give that a try. I've always found you know movement has been crucial in terms of mental health and well being. Literally going for a walk, getting some steps in, has been huge. I heard this phrase from Rich Roll, which is you can't change the mind with the mind, but you can change the body with the mind. So getting up, moving, you know, getting off your phone, getting off your screens, getting out there, touch some grass, as people like to say these days.
Yep.
All right, Marcus. Well, let me leave you with this, and then we'll jump into some headlines, which is, what are you excited about for the rest of this year? Like, what's getting you up in the morning? What's getting you fired up, and what's kind of keeping you going as you pursue your mission?
Yeah, man. I think I'm really fired up about the legislation. I only have about 6 months experience under my belt, so I know that there's still a lot to learn, but there's also a lot to be done. I think that similar organizations like Alston for Athletes are doing great programmatic work, but in my personal opinion, the real change is going to come systematically. So I want to get, they had the mental health training bill passed in Ohio last week, and I believe that Maryland's up next, and, really, trying to figure out a way of like, how can we, advocate and move this mental health training bill forward in other states while also working on new type of legislation here in Maryland. So I'm really excited about, this advocacy journey that, we're just in the beginning, phases of. So, really excited about that. We also have some new volunteers that we're bringing on board to help out. So excited to get working, with them and just kind of see what, we can make happen, man.
Yes, sir. Well, look, Marcus, want to encourage you. You're doing some incredible work, and I admire the willingness to roll up your sleeves and do the dirty work of trying to change legislation. Like, that's not easy. Like, it's a lot easier to, a little bit be more on the perimeter or on the periphery and advocating, but getting right to the heart of the matter, getting right into the state legislatures and advocating on behalf of what you believe in is truly admirable. So, man, proud to be working with you, and let's bring in the other guys and see if they have any questions before we dive into the headline.
No
Beautiful
questions
stuff.
from me,
Yeah.
but I think we'll just dive right in. It's all very related to what you talked about, Marcus. So I feel like you'll be able to share a lot about it, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts. So we like to do a third win segment, and you can't really see it there, but we wanted to highlight this partnership, which is FIFA and Com for the FIFA Women's World Cup. And they did a collaboration for the Qatar 2022 Men's World Cup. And their intention is essentially to get players, staff, coaches access to the app and then create their own content on it for fans in the greater football soccer community. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of the use of social media apps for mindfulness, to increase, mental strength, and just to hear your overall thoughts on this type of partnerships.
Yeah, I love the partnership. I think we're like in this digital age. I'm sure you guys know where, part of solving some of these issues is going to come through technology and these types of apps. So I'm all for, creating partnerships. I believe in, strength in numbers. I feel like this is kind of my personal belief and philosophy in the mental health space. I don't necessarily like view it as competition in a sense, because at the end of the day, we all have the same end goals. There's enough money to, go around. So it's cool to see FIFA partner with the Calm app. I know there's other apps like Headspace. So I could see there being like a future where, more colleges are partnering with, these types of apps, or, more professional sports teams are, doing these types of things, because it's becoming more of a prominent issue, and there's only a certain amount of professionals on their staff. So it's like, what other resources can we provide, for the athletes?
Awesome. Thank you so much. And on that note, I also wanted to ask, what does a third win mean to you? Um, Given that, we're talking third win group, we love to have you as a client, and we're highlighting these types of partnerships as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. Third win. So, um, I would say just like more inclusivity, or just more awareness within the space, of, I just feel like there's this, we kind of have like these systems within athletics that kind of set us up to fail mentally. While, a lot of coaches are like, rub some dirt on it. You're good, you're fine, you'll be okay. But I think we need to like get out of that mindset where mental health is destigmatized, more so in athletics. I think that would kind of be like the start of just like having those open conversations. I think that's the start, but then it's like I said, what other resources or trainings that we can do to like further make it inclusive. So those are kind of my thoughts.
Great. Thank you so much. And then the last part, and you're also welcome to join for the headlines. Just let us know. And we just wanted to give you the spotlight here and kind of give you the platform to say what you want to say about the recent Ohio bill. So there you go.
Yeah. So that it's obviously great news. I've been fortunate enough to have some conversations with Coach Matt Triplett, who's the one that advocated for the bill. I think that's a step in the right direction. And I could see states following suit. But like Kobe said, job's not finished. There's still so much more that needs to be done. Just my like philosophy, or just like thought is like, okay, look at Coach Triplett, like when what he's been able to accomplish over the past 2 years. Just imagine if we had 50 more of coaches like Coach Triplett. We might have this training in all 50 states right now. You know what I mean? So it's like we need more, people like him, in my personal opinion. More coaches coming out and raising, like that stigma essentially, and uplifting that stigma, so that we're, like I said, having these conversations at a, earlier, age essentially. So I'm really excited for Ohio. I believe they're going to be certifying 80,000 coaches like over the next 3-year period. Um, so yeah, man. Ohio's the start, and I believe Maryland's up next, and we got some other states, on our horizon as well. So
I love it, and I was gonna say I've been lovely. I've been enjoying my time as a fly on the wall for this episode and listening to you guys chat. And again, love what you're doing, Marcus, and just repeat everything John said about admiring your work, and even thinking about what you just said about like laying the groundwork. For me, like the FIFA and Calm third win is so valuable because they have that long term idea and that long term kind of vision for being able to build, and not just say like, yay, cool, you have our attention, or yay, this is mental health awareness month, now everybody look. It's like, no, what can we do throughout the year, throughout the coming years, to set up the right things? And again, Marcus, the work you're doing is that long term impact and that long term work. So again, it's really been awesome to hear those things. And yeah, you're more than welcome to stay with us through the rest of the headlines. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about some other things going on in the sport and entertainment world, but more than welcome to hang with us.
I do have to jump off, fellas. I have another call coming up, but really appreciate
Speaking of,
what's that?
Would you like to promote the next call you have coming up? Go ahead.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
At the top of the hour, I'm going live with Riley Christian, who was a former. He was on The Bachelor. He's a sport attorney and a fellow mental health advocate. So I'll be going live with him on Mental Health America's Instagram at the top of the hour.
Warming up, great warm up here on TWT right here.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Take care. See you.
Appreciate it. All right. So let's jump into our headlines for the week. We've only got two, and then one that just brings a smile to our faces, is what I will say. So without further ado,
this is the dead period in the sports calendar with pretty much nothing going on, but there's still always something going on in the sports business, everybody.
There's always something, John.
So the first one that we wanted to talk about this week was the NBA launching its inaugural in-season tournament, which my first reaction to this, Eric, was they need a better name for this than the in-season tournament. Like, what the hell is that? But overall, what do we think of this idea? It's happening, right? It's going to happen this December. So you go first, Eric. What do you think of the NBA in-season tournament?
I got the inside scoop on this at the CAA World Congress back in April. And when Adam Silver was speaking, and he was actually talking with some European soccer heads at the event, and they were on stage saying that the NBA is ready to announce this in-season type tournament. I thought they'd have a better name by this point, but definitely I'm excited to see it as a soccer fan, as a global soccer fan. I'm kind of used to having more than one trophy in one season. And so, if you're an English Premier League fan, there's also the FA Cup, La Liga, the Copa del Rey, all these kind of in-season tournaments that they have in addition to, the main trophy that you're trying to win. And I think it's obviously good for marketing dollars and good for, awareness and building the NBA's brand. And I'm really excited about the fact that they fit it in logistically to making it fit into the schedule. And at first people were like, what does this even mean? Are games even going to count? And I think they just did a genius job with that. So I'm a huge fan of what soon will be called the Kobe Bryant playoffs. I don't know. I got nothing for you.
The Mamba Cup. No, I mean, I think we got to encourage these organizations that have been around for so long when they make bold moves, right? And I think every sport would benefit from trying new stuff like this, right? Like, I don't know if it works for every sport, but I definitely see it working with the NBA, right? And adding some excitement and some flair. I mean, we joke about this sometimes on the show. Like, the NBA doesn't really start until the playoffs, you know what I mean? Or at least it doesn't really start until the trade deadline, right, in February, right? Because you can pretty much the playoffs are so different from the regular season in terms of intensity, in terms of quality, that you're kind of like, okay, wake me up at Christmas at the earliest, when they have their Christmas Day games. So I'm looking forward to it. I do think something more exciting than the in-season. I mean, the winner of the in-season tournament wins the NBA Cup. So why don't they just call it the NBA Cup? I feel like that would be better. This is just the marketing and branding side of us coming out, but the concept is strong, and can't wait to see how it plays out.
By
the way, early predictions for winner of the NBA Cup.
Washington Wizards. They're going to throw everything and just focus on the cup.
Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, the new Shaq and Kobe, right?
What about Koulibaly as well?
Watch out, man! Watch out, guys, long and athletic, but
exactly.
Very rough.
Talking about institutions that have been around for a while and are trying something new, but seems to be failing. Here's the next one.
That was a good one.
Oh, baby. All right. Well, The headline from NPR is the Senate hearing scrutinizes PGA Live Golf merger. Didn't see this coming at all. that the U.S. government would have a problem with one of the oldest American sports institutions merging with a fund that is wholly owned and operated by the Saudi Arabian sovereign wealth fund. I mean, at the end of the day, though, is this merger going to go through? I think this merger is going to go through. I think this is going to be theater, more or less, where the senators, throwing their arms up and talking about how high and mighty they are. But at the end of the day, the lobbyists are going to come in. They're going to get the job done, and they'll come up with some excuse for letting this deal go through. Because the amount of money that's on the table here, like, the PGA Tour cannot afford to not have this merger go through. The Game of Golf can't afford to have this merger go through because, I mean, look, if they don't get this injection of money from the PIF, right, they're not going to be able to withstand the spending and the increase in prize pools that they've been doing. So it's kind of a make or break situation. So as much as like the U.S. government, U.S. Congress is going to be up in arms about this deal is 100% going through.
Yeah, I agree. And, I saw something interesting in one article I was reading saying, like you just said, the PGA would have been strapped for cash and been forced into a deal like this 20 years ago if it wasn't for Tiger Woods coming around. So it's kind of funny now, honestly, reading all the articles about some of the agreements and stipulations that were being tried to get tossed in. And my personal favorite was that the governor of the PIF wanted an Augusta membership. And people have obviously, just been making great jokes on that about this whole entire takeover is just to get around at Augusta.
And Royal St. Andrews too.
That's right.
Which if I'm in his position, I'm going for everything. Why not? Give me Augusta, give me St. Andrews. I want Pebble Beach. Why not?
3 rounds for life. No, it's crazy. Honestly, it is just like a roller coaster in a theater, and it's funny to think anybody has any kind of say in what's going to happen because you're even hearing the players say we're being sent documents at 1 a.m. on the Wednesday before tournaments start. Like, they know what they're doing. They're keeping us out of this. The conversations are going on in WhatsApp chats, and just kind of seeing everything come to light through the hearing. Not necessarily that anything's going to come out of it, but just kind of seeing all the information kind of be out there. The red line documents and the red line contracts. Just seeing how the negotiation process is going through is rather interesting. Let's just leave it at that.
Let me tell you though, Eric, like, this is not going to be the last international sovereign wealth deal in sports. In fact, if anything, sports is getting more globalized than any other industry. Like, there are some industries, certainly like high technology being one of them, where nations are kind of fighting and saying, no, we have to we have to deglobalize and like become sovereign. But it feels like sports is going in the opposite direction and just saying every sports organization, especially the big North American leagues, like, open it up. Let's take money from anywhere, because if the agenda is to grow profits and grow revenues to infinity or forever, right? You're gonna run out of growth opportunity if you just stick on domestically, or if you just stick with like the resources that you can get from the your regular pool of investors. You kind of have to go to sovereign wealth, get this kind of access to this kind of capital. So we just saw the local team, the local franchise accept a big stake from the Qatar investment fund, and so stay tuned for more. I wonder who's going to be next.
Exactly.
Yep. And obviously surrounding that comes the indictment of the PGA that Live Golf was eventually just going to take over the sport as we know it. So
it's kind of just the inevitability of it.
They say their hands were tied, and John, as you pointed out, they kind of were. So now we will move on to our more upbeat
complete pivot. A complete pivot to end this week's Third Win Thursday.
Just absolute pure, just the beauty of sports right here. Like
exactly.
Let's
Here
run,
we go.
Let's run the tape. Yeah.
Let me put it all the way.
Especially when you consider that Hosley's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles, an RBI, and a walk-off. Dustin Baber with a barrel, but foul! Caught by a fan, and that's your ball game! A laser beam from Dustin Baber! What a play by that young man! And the Nanners win 5-1!
And the entire team going out there to swarm the fan! That is why you bring your club to a ball game! Game ender by the fans! The Bananas win it 5-1!
Are you kidding me? Look at our hero tonight! Especially when you...
Oh my God. That's one of the best things I've seen all year from in the sports world. And to be clear, if you didn't see the text there, they have a rule with the Savannah Bananas that if a fan catches a foul ball, that it's an out. And this just so happened to be the 27th out of the game to end the game. So that's why the fan was brought onto the field to celebrate with all the players. I mean, look, just pure joy, right, for that fan. Can you imagine if it was Game 7 of the World Series and a fan catches a foul ball to end the game, to end the whole series, to win the whole thing? Of course, you kind of realize this can only really happen in independent league baseball with the Savannah Bananas, with not as much money at stake, but just incredible.
Great experience. Incredible experience that everybody in that stadium will never forget. I mean, I was laughing when he caught it and they were announcing it, but then I was rolling on the floor when he was on the field celebrating with them, as if I was ready for them to throw a jersey on him and say, "Congrats, you got a contract." But it's too good. And again, the experience, what we say, the reason all of us want to be in the sports industry is the experience and the memories that come from it when you're around from 100 people to 100,000 people, and all of those just great feelings that come with the energy of a stadium. And the Savannah Bananas have hit it perfectly out of the park.
They fully embrace sports as entertainment. You know what I mean? And just let's throw everything out like that we thought we knew about baseball, and let's just make the best pure entertainment product that we possibly can. And I love it. I mean, you go on their Instagram, they've got, a dance, a twerking umpire, and like all their players are basically incredible actors or dancers or singers, performers. It is a performance, and it just uses the game of baseball as a canvas, if you will, to entertain and to enrich people's lives, enrich their fans' lives. So, man, that was awesome. Now I kind of want to go down and see a game and bring a glove, honestly, in case I can make a big time play for the home team.
There you go. A quick lesson on fan engagement for Commissioner Manfred. No, I'm kidding. Although I did see that.
That was a good one. That was a good
one, Scott. MLB average fan age is going down every year. So they're at 43 now. So you got improvement on that end as well. I think
now imagine how many kids are going to want to be switch hitters because of the GOAT Adley Rutschman. And that's where we'll leave it.
There you go. We could have done some MLB draft reactions, but
I'm the only one nerdy enough to really like get excited about that. So we can just say it was a good draft. Go LSU.
Look, I blindly trust the Orioles process and Mike Elias at this point. So whoever he picked, I'm on their team.
Enrique Bradfield Jr., future stud center fielder, roaming the outfield in Baltimore. That's the name to keep in mind.
And there we go. All right. Any community updates for the week, gentlemen?
Hey, we just announced a new client. Continuing with the theme of EC, continuing with the theme of basketball within our community. Coach Steve Turner, the head boys varsity basketball coach at Gonzaga, down here and not far from here, really, on North Capitol Street. Absolutely legendary head coach. He's won multiple championships. He's been named Coach of the Year, Gatorade National Coach of the Year. He's had players go, countless players go D1 In fact, Chris Jenkins from Villanova, who hit that legendary buzzer beater to win the national championship, played for Coach Turner. Tyler Thornton at Duke played for Coach Turner. The list goes on and on. Incredible guy, and we're so excited to be working with him and growing the roster and growing the community at TWG.
Amen. Our clients are up to a lot of things. We got Mr. Casebeer down at a charity 4-man volleyball tournament this weekend. We have some exciting news. Stay tuned coming out next week in the women's soccer space. And a lot of athletes gearing up for the fall season, winter season too, already getting some college athletes going, and got our outdoor folks excited for their adventures and their retreats coming up. So stay tuned. We're going to be posting about a lot of things, and you'll hear from us here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining as always, John and Eric. And we'll catch everyone next week.
Love it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Marcus Alston. Peace, guys.
Thanks, Marcus. All right, guys.